Blizzard actually did a good nerf. Is it perfect? No. Obviously, there will always be things to complain about, and we will talk about those. But overall, I think Blizzard did quite well with these nerfs. They did exactly what we asked for on the Boggspine Knuckles, making it go from 4 mana to, or 4 attack to 3 attack. And Edwin, although not exactly what we had in mind, they did nerf him by a mana by going from 3 to 4 mana. So let's just talk about this. First, let's talk about the fact that I do like the fact that they nerfed Edwin. I do think that they should have nerfed Foxy Fraud or Secret Passage in conjunction with this, because I think Foxy Fraud and Secret Passage are more problematic cards, but the nerf on Edwin makes sense. They can do it so they can keep Edwin in Standard, which gives Rogue that same identity, while also without having to Hall of Fame the card. But also they did it in a way that nerfs the card enough to where it doesn't have the same early game presence as it's always had, which is good. I think that this is very beneficial for Rogue in general, because they get to keep such a good card, a card that's been around since the beginning of Hearthstone. And honestly, I would have been a little bit sad to see it go. Happy, but also a little bit sad. So nerfing it to 4 mana basically means that they're not going to be able to get as consistent turn 1, 2, and even 3 turn Edwins, sometimes 6/6s, sometimes 8/8s, sometimes 10/10s, sometimes even bigger, depending on how good your hand is. And I think that this change is actually very beneficial, because at the end of the day, there's still going to be enormous Edwins, but there's also going to be the fact that it will either be 1, a little bit slower, right? It'll be 1 turn slower, or 2, it will be a little bit weaker and a little bit more manageable. And honestly, I feel like that is enough, at least for Edwin. I do think that Foxy Fraud is the most powerful card in Rogue right now, along with Secret Passage. I would have liked to see Foxy Fraud go to a 3 mana, reduce the cost by 2, because I think that giving Rogue a good turn 2 play that starts combos is kind of problematic. Just being able to play turn 2, play a 3/2, and draw 2 cards with Swindle, a little bit strong, but a 3 mana Foxy Fraud that you maybe make a 3/3, that reduces by 2 so you can play Swindle, might be a little bit more balanced. That's just my opinion. Or making it a 2 mana, reducing the cost of combo cards by 1. I feel like both of those would have also been very, very beneficial for Rogue, because basically at its core, Rogue is still going to have the insane value and tempo and ways of cheating out cards. It's just they're not going to be as oppressive with it with one big Edwin. So, again, I like the change. I just wish I had seen a Foxy Fraud nerf. And the next thing is Boggspine Knuckles going from 4 attack to 3 attack. Now, let me just talk to you about numbers real quick. The first thing is the fact that reducing it by 1 attack will actually lower the damage of this weapon overall by on average about 2. Because I think it's safe to say that Evolved Shamans usually played this weapon about 2 times in any given game, whether it be with Horde Pillager or having the second weapon. Which means that you'd probably attack with it 4, maybe 3 times, depending on if there was weapon removal. So instead of being 16 or 12 attack, it's going to go down to 12 or 9 total attack, which one will help into aggressive matchups, right? Or will help other matchups from getting rushed down by this deck going aggressive, right? So they'll take 4 less damage. In a few situations, they might live with a sliver of HP, which means that they live for 1 turn longer and can play that Brawl, or the Twisting Nether, or the Blizzard or Frost Nova Doomsayer combo they've been holding on to, which is extremely good for slower decks. Next, they can't trade into as many things, so if they're playing against aggro decks, they might not be able to kill off all of the minions all of the time. And the third thing, this is the really big thing of why this was nerfed, it limits the turn 5 play by being able to play the Boggspine Knuckles and the Dread Corsair on the same turn. Sometimes turn 3 even if you have Lightning Bloom. I think that this nerf is very important because sometimes you'd even have 2 Dread Corsairs, and if you play this card, let's say you play this card, you had 1 other minion on the board that wasn't killed off the turn before because you're playing against a slower deck, and then you play 2 Dread Corsairs and then attack and get like a 2 or 3 drop and then 2 5-drops on turn 3. That is a problem, and I like the fact that you're no longer able to abuse that and do that. I just think free cards in Hearthstone in general are problematic, so the fact that the Dread Corsair at least costs 1, like there's some con to playing him, is actually really, really beneficial for the health of Hearthstone as a whole, and this is exactly what we asked for. The Evolved Shaman nerf, like 10 out of 10. Obviously, there's some things we could still complain about, but Evolved Shaman nerf is exactly what we asked for. And the Edwin nerf, I'd say it's like a 6 out of 10. It does address one of the problems, but I think a Foxy Fraud nerf would have been more of a 9 or 10 out of 10. But yeah, it's up for your own interpretation. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And let me just say that the comments are pretty negative here. Saying things like, I wish they nerfed more things, the game's still going to die, look at Blizzard, typical, not addressing the real problems, blah, 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 blah. And to that, I basically just say, can we be a little bit more positive about this, please? Like, these are good changes. Although they're not perfect, they're still good, and they can't nerf absolutely everything, because if they do, you have to think about what will happen to the meta as a result. You have to think that there will be another class that's like about ready to pop off that'll just rise to the top immediately if you kill the 2 best classes entirely. You can't do that, and I don't know, I hate reading negativity when I'm actually excited about these nerfs, because I think that they're actually beneficial, and I would just like it if, like, the community, for those of you who watch this, to just accept these nerfs. Just be like, these nerfs are good, they're not perfect, but I am happy that the fact that Blizzard listened to us and is nerfing some cards, and we'll take this as like a step-by-step thing to make the meta more balanced over the course of the next couple of weeks, especially with the new mini set coming out. So, I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya.